Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase here with head coach Dana Duckworth. And Coach, how are you feeling about Team 48's performance in Florida?
Progress, absolutely. I think the ladies did an excellent job moving from week 1 to week 2 and really making some strides. 1, in our confidence. 2, it was wonderful being able to have a full team, everyone being available, seeing incredible teamwork along the way. And I just thought that in a very boisterous environment, I think the ladies did phenomenal with their composure and really used the environment to help them just stay focused.
I love that, boisterous. That's a really great word to describe being on the road in Florida. So can you tell me, what's a highlight from this past week? The meet in general, from the very beginning all the way to the end, we asked the ladies to be very, very persistent. We didn't want them to give up a single tenth. We wanted them to fight for every single thing. You know, we were on national television, and I said there's no better place to truly show your passion for the sport. And I know that if they love what they do, then it doesn't feel like work, and it's an awesome opportunity. And we talk about how in life, you know, you're winning and you're learning, and I think we did a great job. Well, let's talk about that passion a little bit more, starting with our first rotation, which is on bars, starting with Cam Machado, and she scored a 9.85.
So the angle you see right here, you see the small leg separations, and as Cameron really floats from the low bar to the high bar, she really did a beautiful routine. She hits her handstands on top of the bar. She has a hard combination right here, and really did a nice, really good job after, you know, 2 good bar routines. She stepped in. So I'm really proud of how she is really attacking everything. She's not holding back, and this bar routine's only going to continue to get better.
Now we're going to move on to Luisa Blanco, who scored a 9.925 on bars.
So Luisa just did a great job here. She hit that first handstand. She stayed calm and didn't really react to it. She goes from the high bar to the low bar. You see that she's a very fluid bar worker. Everything looks like it's really easy. And the real highlight of her bar routine was this dismount. When we talk about a stick, we want it to be undeniable. So she does a full twisting double back here. You see her legs completely pinned together, and she's like a dart. And that's the kind of landings that really do make the judges sit there and say, okay, what deductions can I take? And I thought that she did a nice finish right there and really attacked.
And then next we're going to move into Makari Doggett, who scored a 9.925 on bars.
So Makari did a very large release move, and she had to adjust in her transition down to the low bar. What you may not know right now is it was so loud in there you couldn't hear yourself speak. So right here, one other dismount, just undeniable. You see their feet hit the ground, there's no movement or shift of the toes, and she really was proud of herself, as we all were. And so to start off this way, knowing the competition was tight, they really believed in themselves. And I think this kind of energy that they maintained throughout the entire rotation really carried over to vault. And I would just say that there was improvements. We still left some room on the table to improve. And I think that's the key, is that we have not hit the best rotation yet. And that's why each meet is important.
Well, I love that. I love how you're always talking about improvement. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be discussing vault and floor.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
Hello and welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase here with head coach Dana. And coach, we're now going to discuss the vault rotation. So what were some improvements that you were looking for from Team 48 going into this rotation?
The goal for vault was to do bigger amplitude, which means more height and distance from the table. And of course, we're really working on those stuck landings. I think that we definitely had a lot of adrenaline. And as you see these vaults, it was wonderful to have Kaylee Quinn back in the lineup, Shallon Olsen back in the lineup, and Makari Doggett getting her second round of doing this vault.
So we're just going to go right into our highlights from the vault rotation, starting with Shallon Olsen, and she scored a 9.85.
Shallon does a double twist. It's one of the most difficult vaults in college gymnastics. So watch how she pops off the table, does 2 twists, and she really did control that landing well. That's probably one of her best first vaults of a season she's had since she's been at Alabama. Still can work on a little bit of those toes being pointed, that small hop moving backwards. It was nice to see her be rewarded for doing a big vault. And of course, she was so excited to get back out there. It's the first vault she's done since the Olympic Games in competition. And I think she's only got more room for improvement.
And she looks stunning while doing it. And now we're going to move on to Kaylee Quinn, who scored a 9.825.
I wish you could have seen Kaylee Quinn's warm-up vault. She literally nailed it. Her feet didn't move. Right there, you saw that she did that small, well, it wasn't really a small hop. I'd say it was a pretty significant hop, and that's where the most of her deductions came from. But she really gets good height. Look, she's far away from the table. And I know that she's going to find that landing and nail that vault this season. It's going to be exciting.
And last, we have Makari Doggett, who scored a 9.875.
This was a nice vault. She did land a little short. I told her, I said, Makari, why didn't you close your heels? She goes, I had to sell it. I was a little behind. And so you see there, she rushed off the table. So her shoulder angle is a little too much of a crunch. And I would have liked to see her have more of an open, what we call open armpits on the table. So she would have gotten higher amplitude. Yeah, she crunched a little bit right there. But you see that she tried to sell it, and if she would have just brought her heels together, that would have given us a 0.5 tenth back. But at the end of the day, this was the second vault she's done in competition over a year. And so last week, the adrenaline was so big. This week, she tried to taper back, and so now we just got to find that happy medium.
And I loved how at the end of her vault, you can see some of her personality shine through. I thought that was really fun.
Well, she's got the personality.
Yes, she does.
Yes.
So going into personality, it's now we're going to talk about the floor rotation, which is, I always say, is one of my favorite rotations to watch. How important is showcasing that personality during these floor routines?
The personality and the showmanship of floor routine, hands down, is what makes college gymnastics. The ladies are really going to be focused on eye contact and making your choreography where it just mesmerizes you. And I think it's something that the ladies work on constantly. The very beginning, they're trying to get the comfort of the choreography and the tumbling. And as the season progresses, you want it to become more autopilot, more natural. And of course, coming to a home meet, we'll talk about at the end of the show, is one of the places where you really want to be able to showcase who you are, what you stand for.
That's awesome. Let's look at some of these showcases, right? Starting with freshman Lily Hudson, and she scored a 9.85.
She does an opening combination pass. That's a very hard pass. Again, these girls make it look so easy. Front layout double full. She's doing a floor routine that's very different for her than club gymnastics, but yet we also included some of her ballet and her classical look that she's also used to. Her leap pass is gorgeous. She has excellent toe point. She does a 2.5 twist right here. You see her up in the air, just absolutely legs pinned together. I loved how she found that judge and she kind of made those eye contacts there. You see that the girls back there are dancing with her, and I just love that piece.
I love watching your teammates just cheering you on and encouraging you, and sometimes they even know the routine themselves. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. And so right there, she ends with a double back, and she did a great job as a freshman getting out there as a acting like a veteran. Of course, followed by Luisa Blanco. She does a beautiful double pike entry. She is just doing this very just sassy routine, brings out lots of her personality, her heritage. I just think it's wonderful. Right here's her biggest improvement for next week. She has a switch ring, switch half popa, and definitely I can see where that's where the judges got some amplitude and some flexibility stuff. But as far as her tumbling goes, she was so precise. I loved how she did this last pass, a front full, front layout. You just see the lift, you see just that excitement to a big finish.
I love that word precise. I feel like whenever I watch Luisa Blanco compete, she's always so precise.
She really is. She's one of the most cleanest gymnasts out there really in the nation, and it stands out. And of course, she's followed up by Lexi Graber, who does a leap pass, a switch side into a wolf full and a half, and just this routine is dynamic. Her last pass is a front through to a double pike. You see her land that thing, she sells the finish. It was just dynamic. Again, it was funny because someone said, oh, you've got Lily, Luisa, and Lexi, all L's at the end of your lineup. They're like, why do you do that? I said, oh, it just sounds good. Yeah,
I was
Lily,
like,
Lexi, and Luisa. No, I'm kidding. Because they're excellent floor workers. They are going to continue to build the excellence on floor. And I'm excited to see those floor routines continue to grow. They show more personality and control their landings and make their leap passes really big.
Well, I'm really excited to see that growth as well, since that is my favorite one to watch. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be discussing the final rotation, beam.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase here with head coach Dana Duckworth. And coach, you're going into this final rotation in the lead of Florida, ahead of Florida. What are you looking for from your team?
The number one thing we wanted to see was to attack the performance. You know, a lot of times you're in the meet. I don't want to know where the score is. I want us just to do and focus on what we're capable of. So they went in there and they attacked the beam, and that's exactly what we were looking for. We were looking for consistency and just growth from last week to this week.
Well, let's look at some of that attack at these beam highlights, starting with Shallon Olson, who scored a 9.8.
So Shallon, I kind of call her the steady Eddie. Shallon is just very consistent. She does a switch leap, switch half. That's a very difficult leap pass. I'd like to see her get a little more amplitude there. She has a back handspring layout. She has a small bobble, but you see her cover it with her dance. That's one thing I really wanted her to fight for. Right here, a front aerial cartwheel, and then her dismount, a very difficult double full twist. I mean, when you look at those individual elements, Shallon did an excellent beam routine.
Excellent beam routine. And then we're going to move on to Lily Hudson, who scored a 9.875.
This freshman, Lily, just really has a combination here of front aerial into a back handspring layout. It's a 3 tricks pass. It's one of probably the most difficult passes being done on the balance beam in college gymnastics. I'd like to see her get a little more split in that switch leap to the beat jump, a required connection. Right there, her side aerial is aggressive, and then she does a round off 1.5. And it was funny yesterday, she said, I didn't have to take that hop on that landing. And I thought, just remember, we're learning and we're growing every single week.
And she's a freshman and doing so well.
Yes, just really an awesome competitor.
And last, we're going to move on to Luisa Blanco, who scored a 9.95.
I'm going to let her movements speak for themselves. This is perfection. Back handspring, lay. What you don't know is it was so loud in the arena because their gymnast on floor had just gotten a 10. She came off the beam and she said, the beam was shaking, the beam was shaking.
Oh my
Literally,
goodness.
It was so loud in there, it made the floor rumble.
Wow.
I would say she did get a 9.95 on that routine. I was very excited to know. Many of my peers texted me and said, that was a 10-0 beam routine if I've ever seen it. At the end of the day, you control what you can control, and our ladies have nothing but really pride to take in that rotation because you went 6 for 6 in a really boisterous environment, and you stayed calm, cool, and collective. That experience will make us better in the long run. That is what the SEC championship is like. So really, at the end of the day, we did not feel like we did not get a W. We really did win in so many areas of that meet, which will only be carried into this week.
Well, I think that was an amazing performance from Luisa and just everyone on beam. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be discussing Dana's tip of the week.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase here with head coach Dana Duckworth, and now we're going to discuss Dana's tip of the week, which is using the home gym advantage. Now, I know you've had 2 pretty tough road games or road meets. What is it? How important is this home gym advantage?
First of all, there's nothing like a home meet in Coleman Coliseum. The energy and the environment truly is something that our ladies work all year for. That's really why they come to Alabama. But they want to be in a crowd that's passionate and is excited about their performance. They train all fall to be able to get there. So one advantage is when you see something great, you can be loud. I think sometimes people get confused and think they have to have a golf clap. No, like I want you pumping your arms, shaking your shakers, getting out of your seats, going wild. Because the louder you are, the more you show. It makes an impact on the judges. Because they're sitting there, they're having to think about all these things, and they see you guys see something great. Well, celebrate like you've never seen it before. And it really does feed into the athletes. They want to make you happy. They want to do a great performance, and they really feed off that energy.
Yeah, that energy is so important, especially in sport like gymnastics. So do you really think that the gymnasts, and you just said the judges, they take the crowd into consideration. It's really important to the athletes as well, right?
Absolutely. There's no question that when you see a great performance, even if it has a small error, but they come back and they sell it, This sport is hard. The athleticism and the skills that you're seeing out of these student athletes, they make it look easy, but I think it should be celebrated. I tell them all the time, give the crowd a reason to celebrate the good works, the gifts, and the treasures that you are putting out there. They work so hard to represent the University of Alabama. And so when you're in that environment and you're in Coleman Coliseum, your job is to be loud, and it absolutely impacts it. A little thing I said to the girls the other day is they get on the airplane as we're leaving for an away trip, and they're always like, it's a business trip, like we're going on a business trip. So I challenge our fans, make Coleman Coliseum on Friday night your business trip.
I love that. Our
Bring your
business trip.
shakers, bring your families, bring everything you got, show your personality, be bold, like be you. And bring it, because it does make an impact. And Coleman Coliseum is a beautiful place to watch a gymnastics meet. So yes, you can watch it on TV, but there's nothing better than being in Coleman Coliseum. And we're throwing t-shirts, and it's an environment that's electric. So as a fan, there's really a reason to be in the arena.
I love that. Be bold. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be discussing freshman Lily Hudson and her amazing performance.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
I started gymnastics when I was 2 years old, and my mom had a love for the sport of gymnastics, and I fell in love with it. I was doing level 4 at 5 years old. I just kind of ran with it. I didn't really have much time to do anything else. I loved it. I loved elite gymnastics so much, it lit a fire in me like nothing else. And then I got hurt quite a bit. When you get hurt, you spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's next, like what do I do with my time? And so that was a thinking point for me. I didn't exactly know what was gonna give me the fire like elite gymnastics did. And it turns out Alabama did that for me. I stopped picturing myself at the Olympic Games. I started picturing myself competing in Coleman Coliseum. Yeah, so my family is super important to me. They kept me going when maybe I felt like I didn't want to anymore, or because injuries got so much that it was too much to take on my own. So they were always in my corner. They went to pretty much every single meet that I've had. Like, they didn't miss a meet. It was something I really needed, and it's a big piece of why I'm here. It'll be nerve-wracking to compete for the first time, but it's something I've been waiting for since I committed here in 8th grade. The feeling of representing the script A on my chest will be like a feeling like no other. I can't wait for that, and to have the crowd just screaming and every girl beside me screaming for me and everybody. It'll be incredible.
Wow, that was so inspiring. I
I'm
mean,
crying.
oh my
I can't even
gosh, that
decide.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase, here with head coach Dana Duckworth. And coach, you know, you said that she's competing like a veteran. Explain that to me.
She loves the sport of gymnastics. She has attacked every single practice like it is a championship meet. And what I love about her, she's a gamer. She is so competitive, and she really is relentless at what her goals are. When I tell you she loves her family, they have been such a backbone and supporter for her, but she also loves the Bama Gymnastics family, and she is everything you want in an Alabama gymnast. She's committed to the same kind of focus in the classroom. She is just a joy to be around, and what I love about her is she has this steadiness. And the fact that she shared that, you know, she had this love for elite gymnastics, and then she went through injuries, and then college gymnastics is her why. And just so everybody knows, and she gave me, permission to share this, is she had trained all fall. She was ready to go all around. She got COVID. She did not get to compete in the first meet. It was devastating. And I said to her, there's a silver lining to this. You are going to use this as motivation. And so for her to come out, she is from the state of Florida. Yeah. We are at the University of Florida. She competes on 3 events. She's getting primed for 4 events. I cannot speak enough to her work ethic and her focus, and to see her shine. So at practice yesterday, I said, you know, I never asked you, like, what was it like? Did you enjoy competing? She said, that was the most favorite floor routine I've ever done in my life. In my life. And I was like, oh, that's what you want. committed in 8th grade, came to this university to do college gymnastics to represent the script A, and literally lives it every day, not only in her words, but in her actions. I'm super excited about what she's going to do here as a gymnast at Alabama, but I'm almost even more excited about the profound impact she's going to have on me as a coach. Because as a coach, you really are created and molded by the athletes you have on your program, and Lily Hudson's one to watch.
Oh, that is so beautiful. That relationship I know is so important. But let's talk about that video. I mean, she was explaining how she's so excited to be competing in Coleman Coliseum, and you were competing against Kentucky this Friday at home. How are you guys feeling about that?
Ready, excited to light up Coleman Coliseum. At the same time, every single week we have to earn. So yes, we did a good job on Friday, or Sunday, I should say. It's a quick turnaround. We have 2 practices this week. We'll compete on Friday night in Coleman against Kentucky. Our alumni are going to be there, which is always exciting, celebrating the 2002 championship team and the 2012 championship team, the legacy of champions. I think that this team just wants to continue to show the world what they're capable of, and we haven't even hit our best. So we got to keep grinding, we got to keep focusing on the details, and every single day be intentional.
I love that. It's definitely going to be a meet to watch. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next week. Roll Tide, everyone.
This has been a presentation from Learfield.